Today, I want to give you guys a new perspective on this fear, this issue that so many of us struggle with. And that is the fear of being misunderstood that comes hand in hand with the desire to be understood, with the desire to be truly seen. And I want to explore this issue, this central issue to so many of us, through this art class metaphor that I started getting into with you guys in one of my last videos. So, the art class metaphor is basically one way in which I've come to understand, or rather to find peace with the possibility of being misunderstood. And I'm a visual artist. I've gone to many art classes in my life. This is just a doodle, so I guess the artist in me that wants to be understood as an artist gives that disclaimer. But anyways, so in art class, there's an exercise that we often encounter, and that is the exercise of drawing a still life. A still life is essentially an object, and this is going to be our object today. So it's an object that everyone in the class is tasked with creating a painting of or a drawing of. And that object gets placed usually in the middle of the room, and everybody in the class, in today's class that we're talking about here, there's 10 people. Everybody in the class sets up their easel somewhere in the class around this object. Now, although there is only one object, there are 10 people in the class. Therefore, there are going to be 10 different paintings. Because if you now we're splattering everywhere. Okay. There's going to be 10 different paintings. And this is, that's kind of maybe like a common sense idea. But if we think about it, like this person is going to get to see it from that angle. This person is going to see the object from that angle. This person is going to see it from this angle. And so on and so forth. Therefore, since they're all only getting their one view of the object, their painting is all their paintings are going to be different from each other, both because of where they're standing in the room, but also because of their skill level and the way that their hands move, the colors that they have access to. Regardless, the idea here is that even though it's just one object, there are going to be as many different interpretations of that object and representations of that object as there are people in the room. And that's because they're all standing in a different place. Now, you could say that as human beings, even more than like physically standing in a different place, we are all psychologically standing in a different place, because human beings are all unique. There is only one of each of us, meaning there is not any other person in this world that is going to be able to see life in just the way that we see it, or that's going to interpret situations in just the way that we interpret them, or is even going to be able to, and I'm going to start doodling now while we talk. Or is even going to be able to understand us and see us in the way that we see ourselves. Because the insight, the perspective, the access that we have to witnessing ourselves, no one else in this world is ever going to have. For my spiritual folks out there, we could say, or I would say, that the only the only one that could have a full view of who we are is the divine. Some use the word God, some use the word source. I'm comfortable with either of those, so you may see me using them interchangeably. But to me, the idea of the perspective that God has on us is maybe the perspective that we, in seeing this drawing, can see the object from a bird's eye view. So we can see the whole picture in a way that any of these individual people cannot. But what I see, what happens on this earth is that each individual people of these, each individual person starts fighting with each other, saying, let me get a marker for that. This one tells that one. Number one tells number two that their perspective is the correct one. And then they get angry and tell number one that no, their perspective is the correct one. As far as, and that didn't show up so well, so we're gonna do another layer. As far as they can each tell, like number one, of course, this person's gonna think that their perspective is the correct one because that's the only one that they have access to. So for them, it is so real. Just like this person is gonna be convicted that their perspective is the correct one because that's what they see and it's so real for them. And this person over here is gonna tell both of them that they've got it wrong, that they have no idea what they're talking about because their perspective, this person is convinced that their perspective is the correct one because it is for them. I think if we can all embrace this metaphor, if we can all embrace this reality of the limited perspective that we all have while we're here being human, that does not invalidate any of our individual perspectives. Like, just because this person over here sees a different view, that does not make that person's view any less real. So, you know, for what it's worth, I think in my work, I'm interested in liberating myself more and more every step of the journey of liberating myself from the tension, from the suffering of this world. And so what I offer you guys here is one way to look at this issue of our different perspectives that hopefully helps liberate you a little bit more too. Once we fully accept that nobody could ever really see us, which, you know, sometimes that's a hard reality to come to terms with, that nobody but ourselves and God and the divine is ever going to really see us as fully as we hope to be seen, although some people may come close. Then we become, that frees us up to release the burden of having, oh, there's number 3, is now a blog, of having to appease other people or spending so much time being anxious about how people are or are not understanding us. So that's my illustration. That is my art class metaphor. I hope this helps to liberate you. And there's my signature. I hope this helps to liberate you just a little bit more on your journey. It's helped me. Sending you much love. Bye.